Okay, answer to problem card 1. 15.6 plus a equals 50. So I need to find a number that when added to 15.6, that's going to give me 50. Well, if I did 50 take away 15.6, that will give me what a is equal to, because it's finding the difference. So I need to do 50 take away 15.6. Okay, so notice how I've lined up the tens column, the units column. I'm going to add in a decimal point there, and we can add in that 0. That's the sum I need to do. 50 take away 15.6. This one's a little bit tricky. Look, I can't do 0 take away 6, so I've got to borrow 1 from here. But again, I can't take anything from 0, so I've got to borrow from the 5 to become 4. So that becomes 10. I've got to then borrow from that 10, so that becomes 9. And then I can finally have that 10 there. 10 take away 6 is 4. Don't forget the decimal point. 9 take away 5 is 4. 4 take away 1 is 3. So A should equal 34.4. B, however, B plus 39.1 has got to equal 50. So I've got to try and find this B. So I could use a number line, but I'm going to use that subtraction method again. Because, for example, let's say we have 5 equals 3 plus something. To find that something, you could do 5 minus 3, which would give me 2, wouldn't it? So you can do the opposite in order to find the missing value. So what I need to do is 50 take away 39.1, and that will find what that B is. Right, so setting up the question is most important. I've got 50 and I've got to take away 39.1. I've lined up the tens, I've lined up the units, but there's nothing here. So just to help me out and make the question easier, I'm going to put in the point and I'm going to put in the 0. That's still got a value of 50. It's just made it look a little bit nicer for myself. Okay, so let's carry on with that. Taking away, well, 0 take away 1, I can't do that. I'm going to have to do that carrying method again. Take 1 from the 5 to become 4, that carries to 10. Got to then cancel that, change it to a 9, and then I've got 10 on that first decimal point, the tenths column. 10 take away 1 is 9, decimal point, don't forget. 9 take away 9 is 0, 4 take away 3 is 1. So B, we found out, is equal to 10.9. Last row is A plus B plus C equals 50. Well, I know A is 34.4, so I'm going to put that in. I know B is 10.9, so I've got to find plus C equals 50. So I've got to do 34.4 plus 10.9, this first bit here. 34.4 plus 10.9, notice how I'm lining up all the columns. 9 plus 4 is 13, carry the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, so here we've got 45.3 plus the C equals 50. So I need to find what would that C have to be in order to make it up to 50. Well, let's use a different method for this one. Let's use a number line in purple. 45.3 is here. I need to reach 50. Let's do it in chunks. Well, how can I get to 46? What do I need to add on? Well, I could add 0.7. 45.3 plus 0.7 will get me to 46. And then how am I going to go from 46 to 50? I need to add another 4. So in total, what have I added? I've added 4 plus 0.7. So C must be 4.7. So problem card 2, we've got to try and make 41.7 by adding 2 decimals together. The decimals, one of them has a tens and units and a tenths. One has just a units and a tenths column. I've written that out here in a sort of column method. let's have a look at the first column. I need it to eventually be 7. So what could I include? Well, I could have 4 plus 3. And then moving on to the next column, I've got to make 1. Well, I can't make 1 because I've got to put a number here and a number here. And I only have the digits 1 to 9. I can't put a 0 anywhere. So if I can't make 1, how else would I get a 1 in this column? Well, if I get 11, I'd have 1 there and I'd carry a 1 going across. So let's try that. How can I make 11? Well, I could have 6 and 5. 6 plus 5 makes 11. Good, so that would give me 11. We'd put in a 1 here and we'd carry 1 across. Well, now I've got a number here, plus 1 needs to be 4. So I've got to put in a number here, which would be 3. So if we can use the numbers more than once, that would be a fine solution. 36.4, add 5.3. What if we can't have those numbers twice? Well, let's write out another one. Let's see if we can find another way to do it. So this time on the tenths column, I'm going to use 2 different numbers that add to get 7. I'm going to go for 5 and 2. This point again, we know we've got to try and make 11, so I could use 7 and 4. 7 and 4, I'd get 11, carry the 1, so then I can put a 3 in there. So there will be a few solutions to this. Just see which ones you've got, just double check they're right. If you can find more than one, that's excellent. Problem card 3. Jeff buys the following items. He buys a shirt and trousers. He starts with £200. We've got to work out how much he has left once he's bought everything. So let's first of all see how much he's spent. So his spendings were the shirt for £45.60 and the trousers for £79.95. So if I add those 2 decimals together, I can find out how much he spent in total. Notice I've lined up all the columns. Let's add them together now. 0 add 5 is 5. 6 adds 9 is 15. So I put the units in, carry the tens. 9 add 5 is 14, but let's not forget the 1 at the bottom. So that's 15, carry the tens. 7 add 4 is 11. Add the 1 at the bottom, that's 12. So the amount he spent was £125.55 on 1 shirt and 1 pair of trousers. I need to find out how much change he had. So what I really need to do is 200 take away the amount he spent. So let's put that in a nicer way in the columns, lining up the hundreds, the tens, the units. And remember, I don't want this gap here, so what I'm going to do is put £200, 0 pence. That's still £200. And we're taking away, so let's have a go at that. 0 take away 5, I can't do that. I can't borrow here, can't borrow here, can't borrow here. I've got to get all the way to 200 in order to borrow 1. This will then become 10, which I then got to cross out, make that 9. This one will become 10, which I then have to cross out and make 9. This one becomes 10, which I cross out and make 9. Finally, I've got that tens I need there. 10 take away 5 gives me 5. 9 take away 5 gives me 4. Don't forget the decimal point. 9 take 5 is 4. 9 take away 2 is 7. And 1 take away 1 is 0. So your answer should have been £74.45 left over. Problem question 4. We've got 2 number lines and we need to find the difference between A and B. Well, we first of all need to recognise what are A and B. Let's have a look at B first, slightly easier. 15 to 16 has how many jumps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in 10 jumps I've got to go from 15 to 16. 15 to 16, remember, is just 1, has a difference of 1. And I've got to split that in between 10 parts. So I've got to split 1 into 10 pieces. Well, 1 divided by 10 is 0.1. So each of these jumps are 0.1. And that works because you'd get from 15 to 16. So to go from 16 to B, I've got to add 0.1. So some people will be able to see that's just 16.1. But if you wanted to do 16 plus 0.1, that would also give us what we need. 16.1. Okay. How about A? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps. And what's the change between 4.1 and 4.2? Well, that's a change of plus 0.1, isn't it? The tens column has gone up 1. So what I need to do is 0.1 divided by 4. How else can we write divide? Well, we can write it as a fraction, 0.1 divided by 4. And using equivalent fractions to get rid of that decimal there, we can times both the top and bottom by 10. Well, that would give me 1 over 40. So using bus stop, I'm going to do that 40 divided by 1 to work out what that is as a decimal. Make sure to put in a few zeros to help me out. 40s into 1 don't fit. 40s into 10 still don't fit. How many 40s in 100? Well, 2 remainder 20. How many 40s in 200? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each jump on this one here is actually 0.025, 0.025, and that would get us from one place to the other. So to go get A, we need to have 4.1, and we need to add 0.025. So what would that give us? 4.1 add 0.025, well, that leaves us with 4.125. So I know A is 4.125. I know B is 16.1. Haven't quite finished the question. I need to find the difference between them. Difference is also the same as taking away. So I need to do 16.1 take away 4.125. Let's give myself a little bit more room for this. Okay, 16.1, 4.125. I'm going to put in 2 zeros there, and we're taking away. 0 take away 5, so I've got to do some borrowing. I'm going to borrow 1 from here, carry it across, borrow 1 from here, carry it across. 10 take away 5, 9 take away 2, 0 take away 1, I've got to borrow. 10 take away 1, 5 take away 4, and there's my answer, 11.975. So problem card 5, you got to fill in the missing gaps. So for example, on this first one here, this number here has got to be something plus 3 gives me 2. Well, that doesn't make sense. But remember with column method, we could get a 2 in there by making it 12. So what plus 3 gives me 12? Well, that's going to be 9. So 9 plus 3 gives me 12, so I would put 2 in, I'd carry the 1. Then I've got 1 plus 2 plus 1. So the missing box now here must be 4. Then this box here, something plus 4 gives me 5, so that's got to be 1. And the last box here, we'd just be left with 3. The answer to the one on the right is already there, so just mark that one off. Final problem card. So we've got a bar model here. We first of all need to work out this missing value. Well, this missing value is made up of the blue. It's the same length, sorry, as the blue and the red one together. So if I do 1.34, add 12.9, that's going to give me the full length because it's this distance, add this distance, and that is the length of that green bar. So let's do that first. fill in this little 0 here, doesn't change the value. 0 there doesn't change the value but helps us out, so there's a digit in every box. 4 plus 0 is 4. 9 plus 3 is 12. Don't forget the decimal point. 1 over 2 is 3, but don't forget the 1 at the bottom. And there we go. So we found the missing bar there is 14.24. Below we've got to write down 4 relationships you can see. So the first one we can see we've just done. 1.34 plus 12.9 equals 14.24. I've also got to do another plus one where I could just change those two the other way around. Still going to be the same length, isn't it? If I swap the bars around, they'd still take up that amount of space. But what about these two with the minusing signs? Well, let's have a think. If I took that green bar, let's do them in the right colours. So I know the green bar is 14.24. If I took away the blue one, 1.34, so if I cut this bit off, the length I'd be left with would be this red shape here. And we know that the red shape is 12.9. So I can write that one in. If I took the whole bar, 14.24, and I took away the blue bit, which is 1.34, I'd be left with the red part, 12.9. So just picture that there. We're cutting this bit here. We're getting rid of this blue bit by taking away 1.34. We'd be left with this length here, which is the red block. I need to find one more now. Well, let's start again with 14.24, the long green block. If I took away this 12.9, so I've got 12.9 is that length from this side to this side here. If I cut that away, what would I be left with? I'd be left with this bit of green here, which I know is the same as the blue, 1.34. So the final relationship is 14.24, take away that red block there, and I'd be left with this part on the end, which we know is the same length as the 1.34.